Hello, and welcome to the Weird Around Illinois podcast. It's kind of a short podcast for us this time. We're just going to follow up on a subject that's come up quite a bit in our previous investigations and our conversations with people. We often get asked the question, do you believe in ghosts? And I thought I would turn the question to you guys to start with. Do you believe in ghosts?
You know, I'm open to it, but I don't know. It's hard to believe it until I see it. You know. Of course, I'm open to it. If anyone says that they've seen it and I trust them, then I can't necessarily deny it.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of experiences with any ghosts, so I can't. Like he said, we're open to it.
I think that sums me up as well. I've heard ghost stories from people who I really trust, really believe, and I don't think they would make these things up. I've also seen and read so many encounters about ghosts. It makes me believe in the possibility of ghosts, I guess is the way that I'd put it. But I haven't had enough hard personal evidence to say, yes, they exist. I know they exist. I've seen them. You can't tell me they don't. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. All of these things that we're investigating, I would really love to just get some hard evidence and be able to be that true believer and say, yes, I know for a fact these things exist because I've seen it.
Yeah, it'd be cool to give that story to everybody.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it's even possible to actually record these ghosts, because I know there's probably a lot of fake ones out there.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point actually. I never even thought about that. Like ghosts, things that are dead usually. You know, like vampires. They usually can't be caught on camera.
Yeah.
So let's just use that same thing for ghosts. They probably can't be.
Yeah, there's a good chance they might not be.
There are a lot of people who are now saying that you can't capture ghost images or even some cryptid images on modern equipment. They're saying that you have to go old school, like I told you about with the ghost recordings or the spirit recordings. That the reason I was using the old standard cassette recorder is because, you know, a lot of times people claim you can't record these things on the phone. They just Same thing goes with film. A lot of people believe you have to photograph ghosts with film, digital camera.
We're gonna have to buy a Polaroid
Yeah.
just to take a picture of a ghost.
Now, a skeptic would tell you that that's because modern equipment is so good that it doesn't show you things that aren't there. And that, you know, what you're seeing on, you know, old film is actually the crappy old film that has ghost images on it. And, you know, the crappy old recording tapes have all kinds of background static. So, you know, the modern equipment is so clean that it doesn't show you any of the stuff that isn't there. Now, I know, you know, we've all said we haven't, you know, seen a ghost, we've experienced that, but I think each of us have experienced some unexplained phenomenon. And, you know, I know in a later podcast we'll probably go into detail on what each of us has been through, but I've had enough of those weird moments in my life where I've been like, well, that shouldn't have happened. And you know, is there a ghostly explanation for it or not? I don't know. It just helps me to keep that open mind. The thing worth mentioning is that a lot of ghost sightings seem to happen with children, and I've always had this belief that as we get older, we develop this filter, like a logic filter, and when something happens that doesn't quite fit into our concept of reality, immediately that logic filter gets applied. We start saying, okay, well, that couldn't be what I thought it was. Therefore, it had to be this, 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 or this. And so, as we get older and older, we start shuffling these unexplained occurrences further and further into our subconscious and piling all these logical explanations on top of them so that we don't have to face something that doesn't fit our logic filter.
So a child would have the opposite of that, a more cleared mind that sees those things and doesn't overthink it almost. It just
Yeah.
sees what is could really be there.
Right. That's why, I think each of us, when we had our various unexplained experiences, they happened when we were much younger. And I wonder if that could be why. And again, who's to say the child is right and the adult is wrong? Just don't know. But it's an interesting difference of perspective, and it's why this ghost debate always goes on, because for people who have seen a ghost, you are never going to convince them that it is anything but a ghost. But
Yeah.
I find most people who haven't seen a ghost are very quick to go the other way and say, no, I haven't seen it, therefore it doesn't exist.
Got to keep an open mind.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's where we stand on this. And if you have differing viewpoints, by all means, leave them in the comment section. Have the same viewpoint, leave it in the comment section. Remember to subscribe, remember to follow, remember to tell your friends. Thanks for listening to Weird Around Illinois.